and watch what changes. Hello, America. Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. It's Thursday. I want to hear from you today. You hear me blab all day long every day. I mean, if you can take it. I'd love to hear you talk today. I want to hear what's on your mind. What is the state of your life, of your community, and of America? What are you feeling? 888-727-BECK. We'll start taking phone calls here in the next few minutes, but I've got to bring you up to speed on what is happening with the Attorney General of the United States, what we're doing, calling parents domestic terrorists. What is happening to us? Oh, I can explain, and it's kind of good news. And I'll give that to you in 60 seconds. He was talking to the Deputy Attorney General over treating concerned parents as domestic terrorists. Now, I want you to know, fact checkers, yes, fact checkers at the Associated Press claimed that the School Board Association did not ask Biden to label parents as domestic terrorists. This is the AP fact check. This is the state of journalism today. They claim the National School Boards Association did not ask the Biden administration to label parents who oppose certain school policies as domestic terrorists. Contrary to false claims circulating online, the National School Boards Association didn't ask the president to label protesting parents as domestic terrorists, and there was no indication Biden or the Justice Department called them terrorists. This is according to the AP. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a memory, but sometimes you can't trust it. So I use a little thing called the interwebs, the information superhighway. It's a newfangled thing.
Sounds exciting.
It is very exciting. Started by Al Gore, but that's a different story. And I went back on the interwebs and I looked for the letter sent to the government from the NSBA, okay? Mm-hmm. And in the letter, they clearly demand that Biden and his team begin an investigation into, quote, acts of malice, violence, and threats against public school officials, end quote, by the parents, which they say, with the right manipulation from the administration, can be classified as, quote, equivalent to a form of domestic terrorism and hate crimes. So I'm not sure what letter the AP was checking, but now the press is trying to spin this that's a hoax. That's just an internet lie. Can you believe that?
That's amazing. And they obviously just are picking the things that scare people the most.
Yeah.
Hate crimes?
Yeah.
What on earth would qualify it as a hate crime?
I don't know. Okay, so one person that didn't buy into the AP fact checkers was Ted Cruz. Here he is yesterday talking to the Assistant Attorney General. Listen.
And yet the Department of Justice looked at that issue and decided to label the parents objecting to this teaching as domestic terrorists. Did you participate in discussions about the memo before it was issued?
Senator, I can't talk about internal deliberations.
You can't talk about whether you participated in discussions about the memo?
No, but what I can tell you is that the Civil Rights Division will play a role going forward. The Attorney General has asked the department to undertake a review, and the division will participate in that review to determine how federal enforcement tools can be used to prosecute crimes.
Do you believe parents objecting to the teaching of critical race theory have civil rights in the democratic process?
I don't follow the question, Senator.
You don't understand the question whether parents objecting to critical race theory have civil rights?
The First Amendment is a core value in our democracy, and
I didn't say free speech. I said civil rights. School board meetings are democratic. They are petitioning your local government. Do they have civil rights that the voting rights gives a damn about?
Yet they have the right to express their view, to challenge the school boards, to ask.
And is it beneficial for the Attorney General to label them as domestic terrorists and direct the FBI to target them?
The Attorney General's memo deals with threats against public servants.
She's reading this.
And says that threats against public servants are not only illegal, they run counter to our nation's core values.
Do you believe parents objecting at school boards are domestic terrorists?
I don't, Senator.
Do you believe Antifa are domestic terrorists?
I don't have a view about Antifa.
Do you believe the Black Lives Matter protesters who burned shops, who firebombed police cars, who murdered police officers, do you believe they're domestic terrorists?
Senator, I believe that we live in a society where people espouse different views, but what we don't want are
Stop. He just said people that kill police officers and burn cities down. Her response was, we live in a very diverse country.
They espouse different
views.
Like, I like to kill police officers and I don't like to kill police officers.
She can't even answer that question. There's more.
That you're not willing to condemn people who are murdering police officers and firebombing cities because your politics aligns with them. But at the same time, when it comes to parents at school boards, you're perfectly comfortable with calling a mom at a PTA meeting a domestic terrorist. Ms. Clark, with all due respect, this demonstrates why the Democrat proposal to take someone with as long a partisan record as you have and to put you in charge of striking down any voting rights law in the country that you disagree with is nothing but a partisan power grab.
Okay. So that's Ted Cruz yesterday. And I think we all know it's clear where our Justice Department stands. This woman is, if I'm not mistaken, the head of the civil rights enforcement arm of the Justice Department. So she's going to be right on top of all of these things.
You'd think.
And
we should point out, you were noting that she was reading it. Mm-hmm. It seemed as if she was reading it for the first time.
Yeah.
You could tell she was stretching out her words as she was trying to read ahead.
Mm-hmm.
That's not someone who has a grasp on the material.
Correct. And somebody who is, speaking from the gut.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Certainly not.
When you're in one of these roles, sometimes you have to make decisions quickly. This is why the president has to know who he is. Right now, I don't think we have a president who knows what his first name is. It's like, who's that guy in the hallway? Mr. President, that's Amir. What?
How did I get in there?
I thought I was here. How am I there? Anyway, they have to have a gut because they have to make a decision quickly. And when you are like, I don't understand the question, I'm asking you if you believe if Satan did exist, if he would be a good guy or a bad guy. I don't understand the question. You should know that pretty quickly. Now, here's the reason why they're doing this, and here's the kind of good news. The reason why they're doing this is because they're losing. You don't have to scare people into not standing up if you're winning. But they're losing the argument, especially on CRT. They're losing the argument, and they're losing the argument on almost every front. And so that's why they have to criminalize political dissent. And it is all just to get you to sit back down. We're in a race right now. Who's going to have the reins of power when this damn thing collapses? Okay? Are we going to stand up and push them back, or are they going to keep us quiet long enough for their plan to collapse this thing into a great reset? Which one's going to happen first? This is why they are trying to scare you in every possible way. You have to know in your heart you are winning. Otherwise, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care. They act like they don't care. They continue to do these crazy things. But then they need the FBI They need the Capitol Police to be a new intelligence arm. They need when you go to the post office to ask the post office, hey, how can we be a little more efficient on intel? You know you've got problems, okay? That's one of the more inefficient things the government does is the Postal Service. Yeah, let's go ask them to help us. When you got the post office spying on people, hey, when you get to that letter, you get to the letter box, just look in there, see what kind of mail they're getting. Okay, I mean, they're losing. They're losing. This is why it is so important right now for you to stand up, but to stand up peacefully, because this is all coming undone. Look they're calling Americans that stand up, they call them domestic terrorists. Yet when Cinema is tracked down in a bathroom, that's what happens. That's what happens. Okay, wait a minute. Hold it just a second. Don't you think tracking a woman down in a bathroom with a camera is kind of a bad thing? Wow.
Part of the process, Glenn.
Part of the process. Right. You've got all kinds of things, right? For instance, you have MSNBC saying it was just the Republicans pouncing on that bathroom confrontation. No, I don't think so. You're afraid that you're losing. And that's why you have to grow more and more draconian, more and more totalitarian, more and more a street thug. We must do the opposite right now. Because there's a lot of things that are happening. For instance, the ESPN story, what's her name? Sage Steele?
Sage Steele, yeah.
We talked about that yesterday. Do we happen to have that from yesterday, the audio? Let's play the audio from Sage Steele. She's a big ESPN announcer, and she was on a podcast, and she had just that day gotten her vaccine because she works for ESPN, ABC, Disney. And the mouse is demanding that everyone gets a vaccination or they're fired. So she's just gotten her vaccination, and here's what she says. Listen.
I respect everyone's decision. I really do. Yeah. But to mandate it is sick. Mm-hmm. And it's scary to me in many ways. But I have a job. Yeah. A job that I love, and frankly, a job that I need. But again, I love it. I just, I'm not surprised it got to this point, especially with Disney. I mean, a global company like. Yes.
Okay, so she's clearly, not thrilled with it, but she loves her job. She wants her job, and so she did it.
And she's doing this interview with a Band-Aid on her arm from her vaccination.
Okay, and so she's speaking her truth. Well, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. You not only have to get the vaccine now, but you have to love the fact that you got the vaccine. You have to think that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. You must submit, and it's not just do it. You have to believe it. Do you remember 1984 when they got the rat cage strapped to his face? And he's like, oh, hey, 2 + 2 does equal 5. And what do they say? You don't believe it. You don't believe it. I'm going to give you another. There is submission and now mental submission. And this is coming from a very disturbing place, and I'll share that with you here in just a second. And your phone calls at 888-727-BECK. First, take a stand for what you believe in. It is hard. It is hard, but here's a really easy step. Taking a stand against the things that you don't believe in is really difficult because people are going to call you out, et cetera, et cetera. So where do I even begin? All right. How about this? Do you believe in abortion? Okay. If the answer is no, do you have Verizon? If you have Verizon, by paying Verizon a monthly stipend and bill, they're taking some of that money and they're donating it to Planned Parenthood. So here's an easy thing. You don't have to do anything except save money. Go to Patriot Mobile, patriotmobile.com/Beck. That's 972-PATRIOT. They have the same cell service because they're on the same cell towers. They have better customer service, and you're going to pay half the price of what you pay with big mobile companies. And they're fighting for the things that they're fighting for life. They're fighting for the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, all of the amendments. It's patriotmobile.com/Beck. Easy way to take your first step. patriotmobile.com/Beck. Call them now, 972-PATRIOT. 10-second station ID. Okay. University of Chicago is been named America's #1 free speech campus. It has it is for a very, very long time had this declaration that we will support diverse thought. Well, not so much anymore. Right now at the University of Chicago, you not only need to have a vaccine, but then you have to sign a statement and mark, I agree to these statements. So if you want to go to attend class, you have to agree in writing to the assertion that, quote, COVID-19 poses a serious public health risk. Then you have to agree on my failure to follow the COVID-19 requirements, like wearing a cloth over your mouth, may endanger yourself and or others, end quote. If you have a religious exemption, I acknowledge that I may be placing myself and others at serious illness should I contract a disease that could have been prevented through proper vaccination, end quote. Well, I don't necessarily agree with all those things. I mean, I don't think it is a serious health threat to everybody. It's a serious health threat to those who are over 65, have other conditions. The survival rate is 99.5%. I don't think that's that's not Ebola. That's not Ebola. So now what they're doing, and this is why it is so critical, if your kids are going to school, do not allow them to say things they don't believe. If the school or your office is having something where you're being taught how to be less white and that white people are all racist or whatever it is, no matter how small it is, do not accept the lie. Don't write it. Don't speak it. You can't do that anymore. They are trying to get you not only to submit, but then you have to be part of the team. No, thank you. No, thank you. Not going to play that game. I have certain inalienable rights that come from God. Among those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But not limited to those. In fact, they went on for a few more. I have a right to my religion, to openly practice it the way I want. I have the right to free speech that cannot be abridged. Got that one? Free speech cannot be abridged. And what are they asking us to do?
This is the Glenn Beck Program.
Welcome to the program. Let's go to Brandy in New Jersey. I just want to hear from you and how you're feeling, what we might be missing, what is helpful, and how you're feeling, how your family's holding up. Brandy, New Jersey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. It's an honor to talk to you. I'm being hit with everything from all sides, from critical race theory to the LGBTQ RSVB agenda, and also the vaccination. My husband works for a big company. He's been working from home for 2 years now, and they want him to get vaccinated. He filed a philosophical exemption, a religious exemption, and we can't get an exemption from the doctor because they're just not giving them. But anyhow, they gave him an extension until January.
Wait. He works from home.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's crazy. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And then the stores that are all over in every shopping center that people go to, they aren't requiring those people to be vaccinated, just the white males that work in the business section. Yeah. So because in the stores, it's mostly Hispanics and African Americans and,
And so wait. So they're not required. They're not required. The ones that were in the store interacting with people.
Yes, because it's an uncontrolled environment. So they want to keep their offices controlled.
Okay.
So it's like he works from home. Okay, yeah, so that.
Okay.
Then, now I'm dealing with my daughter who's 10. Yesterday we're at the fair, and we run into her 10-year-old girlfriend. Well, I got raided by the two fathers because now she's going to be a boy, and I need to start using he and his male name. So it's just really difficult. And then going to the school board meeting and sitting through, CRT, I was told is just a buzzword that Fox News uses. They're not teaching that there.
Gosh.
They're doing more. They're bringing back, not economics. What did they tell me? Oh, crap, I forget the name. I don't know. It's just insane, and I don't know what to do. So I listen to you guys for help, but I've been listening to you for a long time, and, I don't know, the last 7-8 years, saying you're going to wake up and not recognize your country. I wake up every day and say, am I living in a bad dream? It's far beyond anything. And the health of my mind is not good. I work with the public every day.
Brandy, so how can we help you? What is it that we do that helps you? Is there anything that we do that helps you?
You know what? I'm pretty strong in my faith. Listening to you guys, my husband and I are taking a stand. I told him, I said, I absolutely do not want that in my body. I don't want it in my kid's body, and you don't have to get it in your body. And he's like, well, I will if you want. And I'm like, no, because this is the first stand. This is the last stand because they're squeezing us in every angle. I said, it's only going to be a matter of time before they say, oh, your kids can't come to school unless the parents are vaccinated. It's only going to be a matter of time before they say, you're not going to have health insurance because you're not vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we heard the kidney story of the woman that can't get her kidney because she's not vaccinated. I mean, the absurdity that is happening in this world right now, all I can say is that my pastor says people in the end times are going to be living in a strong delusion. Well, they are completely living in delusion. I mean,
yes,
up is down, down is up, and I don't know. So you guys, I mean, helping prepare for, catastrophic events or if we don't have food and whatever. So we're, doing that stuff. We're also, but I'm standing up. I'm done.
Good for you.
Done.
Good for you.
Good job. I'm going to stop paying my mortgage. I'll keep paying my taxes. We'll live in our house for another 20 years before they kick us out. And then by the time they kick us out, the bank will have to pay us to leave like they do everybody else. And that's what we're doing. I'm not rich. I can't, we're middle class or lower middle class probably. And I'm just done. It'll be over my dead body before they get it in my children. And I can just tell you that too. I keep telling my clients, you're going to see me on the news one day and it's not going to be pretty, but
yeah, good for you. Good for you. I mean, everybody has a right to take the vaccine or not take the vaccine, but good for you for putting a line down in the sand and not being willing to cross it. You're just not going to cross it. God bless you. And by the way, saving your money and then spending it on a U-Haul to Texas might be a good idea. New Jersey is going to get tougher and tougher. And one of the things that I really, truly believe is you need to be in a community of like-minded people. You can't be the only one standing. You just can't. Let me go to Susie in Florida. Hello, Susie.
Hey, hi, Glenn.
How are you?
Good to talk to you.
Thank you.
I'm okay. I just want to let you know, first of all, you turned me on to politics.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I used to rush home from work every day to watch your chalkboard.
Thank you.
And then I listen to you every day at work. Okay. Now, right now, I kind of feel lost in America. We have been let down. And obviously, we got the problem at the border. I don't understand how these people are all going to be housed, let alone healthcare, school, medical, et cetera. Now they've got the cargo ships docked off of California. They can't deliver their supplies. Everything is on a lockdown of some sort. And now Merrick Garland, the guy that Obama wanted to be in our Supreme Court, is now telling parents they are domestic terrorists. First of all, I haven't even seen any reports that any teachers or school board members had been, harassed or threatened.
They've been,
violence.
yeah, I haven't heard about threats of violence, but of course they're being harassed and called names. One person said that they are, they believe that it's domestic terrorism because they've been called names. And I'm like, if that's domestic terrorism, then we should use the Patriot Act on almost half the country for what they've called me over the years. That's not domestic terrorism. Sticks and stones can break your bones. Thanks so much. Tessa in Louisiana. Hello, Tessa.
Hello, Glenn. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I want to let you know that I have actually done many of the things that you've talked about, and you have changed our life. I want you to know how you have affected it. I'm just one family out here. I'm sure there's others. Number one, when you were talking about the 1619 project all the time and what the public schools were teaching, I got my daughter out of public school and put her in private school. She was 100% indoctrinated with Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. She was literally writing defund police, and then she got involved in the LGBTQ propaganda, which is affecting our teenage girls.
Big time.
And you talked a lot about it, and you even said that your kids had gotten some into social media when you were talking about that. I was like, it's even happening to Glenn Beck. And so I went to war finally because I overheard her saying, she had been saying that she was now going to be, first she was homosexual, then she moved on to now being transsexual. And I got a priest to get me a therapist, a religious therapist, and this therapist, I eavesdropped, and my daughter was saying, my mom might accept homosexual, but I don't know how she's going to feel when she finds out I'm transsexual. And when she said that, then I just realized we're at full-on war zone, I'm at war. So we did a major intervention with my daughter. We quit every single solitary bit of social media. We sat and watched that Social Dilemma. And as you were saying the other day, there was liberal stuff in there, but I fast-forwarded through the liberal stuff, and I just showed her all the stuff of what they're doing to our kids. She was very angry, furious. Huge fights, but I did not let her get back on. It is 4 months later. Guess what? 4 months later, no longer any of that. She said, Mom, I was looking for an escape. I was so stressed out with school, and it was an escape. And, Glenn, that's not all. All your talk about finances and what's happening with the dollar, we sold our house and bought the next house cash.
Good for you.
So,
God bless you. Good
and
for
all
you.
of that, Glenn Beck, that's what you have done.
You are really sweet to say that, Tessa. Thank you so much. Do you have the book Irreversible Damage?
No, I don't.
Okay. It's by Abigail Schreier. You should read it. It's The Transgender Craze Seducing Our Daughters. And this is Abigail Schreier is a woman who used to work for the Wall Street Journal. She's an investigative journalist. And she didn't have a dog in the fight. And she started writing about what was really happening to our girls. And it is a pandemic. And you are now not allowed to even talk about it. Doctors can't say we should have, let's have a family therapist or let's have a psychoanalysis of your daughter. Before we do anything. They're not even allowed to say that anymore. And it is destroying our girls, just destroying our girls. It's called Irreversible Damage by Abigail Schreier. And if anyone is having problems with this or you want to really know how to argue, it is, the left considers it an extraordinarily dangerous book. And the reason why is because it is filled with facts and not written by somebody who was ever a zealot. Now is because she knows all of the facts, but she didn't get into it with that. And they do not want you to read this book. I suggest everyone has a copy of Irreversible Damage by Abigail Shrier. Thanks so much for your call. Back in just a minute with more of your phone calls and a look at the economy coming up and inflation. They've got a brand new idea, Stu. You're going to love it.
It's still transitory, right?
Yeah. No. Well, they in case it's not.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They have